So I saw this tweet from Simogo talking about the infinite shuffle mix mode, uh, and it reminded me that I saw some code about that when I was poking around at the decompiled source looking for glitches to exploit in the speedruns. And so I'm like, might as well take a look, see if I can patch that back in somehow. And so y'all are along for the ride, assuming that anybody ever actually watches this or I upload it in the first place. So we've got the decompiled source code for the game. I forget where I grabbed this, but that's classified. And there's this method here, is album shuffle mode, that lives in sgmenuhandler.cs. So what I'm going to do is fire up Steam and also get Cheat Engine ready. And there's an update for Cheat Engine, but I don't think I actually care. Because we are going to... Oh, that's... We're going to find Sayonara Wild Hearts. Let's put Steam into offline mode just in case. Steam, why are you like this? So, if we fire up the game, and for context, I haven't touched this game in several months. And the last time I touched it, I got halfway through an All Riddles speedrun and rage quit. So that's still in full screen. So we're gonna have to fix that.
Not long ago.
Settings, video settings, resolution, full screen. Okay, and then we're going to tell Cheat Engine to look at Sayonara Wild Hearts. And then we're going to activate mono features, because Sayonara Wild Hearts is a Unity game, which means it's written in C#, and it runs on .NET. Mono is a reimplementation of .NET that's more portable or something. And we are looking for, okay, I think assembly C# is where all of, assembly C# is where all of the stuff is. And then we are looking for, it was SG menu handler. No, not that. SG menu handler. Methods, and it's is album shuffle. Okay, so we will right click and JIT, which will decompile, which will compile in somewhere random. And we are looking for an array. And so hopefully this code is the only thing that looks exactly like that. And so for 883ECOH, 4889OC24, 488BC1, 4863 H O 50OF OO and 83F81A. So we want to see if we can find that in somewhere actually in the game itself. Ah, yes, we can in fact find that. And it's only in one spot, which means that if we disassemble that memory region, if we can okay, so that okay. We have a compare here. If we want it to always think that it is in shuffle mode, then I think okay. So, because to check if it's in shuffle, okay, so for shuffle mode, okay, album from level select page index, that gets used in a bunch of places. Okay, so this says so hardcore mode is greater than 24, which means that YOLO mode should be equal to 24. And 24, if 26 is 1A, then 25 is 19, and 24 is 18. And so with luck, making that change makes it treat Album Arcade as shuffle mode. And so if we are lucky, then we can start Album Arcade
long ago,
and it will think that it is in shuffle mode, but that appears to not actually be the case. Okay, with luck, shut the hell up. With luck, I can okay, so what if we okay, so yeah, that is the spot. We have a breakpoint there. Luck, at some point it will hit that breakpoint. will see if it gives it to us at the end of the level. At least if we can hit that breakpoint. Because it's entirely possible that we won't hit that breakpoint, at which point we will have to employ further shenanigans. To get anything to actually happen. Okay, so that's a level transition, and it didn't hit the breakpoint, which means it's probably not going to, and... Okay, so in that case, where does Is Album Shuffle mode get used? A lot of places, actually. So... with luck, maybe if we, like, set the breakpoint there, and then start again? Will it hit the breakpoint? No, it will not hit the breakpoint. Okay. So... okay, so Is Album Shuffle mode is here. Is Album Hardcore mode will compare against 24. And 24 decimal is 1/8. So if any of the stuff up here... before this... God only knows. Okay, so... okay, can we hit that breakpoint by doing YOLO Arcade? No, we cannot. Okay, yeah, so that is, in fact, nothing. Okay. So, can we... okay, so we've got our disassembler up there, and then our main sheet engine window down here. And currently we don't actually have anything useful to put there. Okay, so can we... Is album mode 4883 CO8 4889 OC24 488 BC1 48 and then OFB6 80 4DOFOO. So can we set a breakpoint there? And then when it gets, if it's in album mode, hopefully that will do something useful. It appears to default to hardware breakpoint, so if that does not in fact do anything useful, then we may have to switch it around to software breakpoint and see if that'll do anything whatsoever. I'm not even entirely sure what the difference is. It's technically possible that checking if it is a album mode. I forget where I was going with that. Reach for that butterfly, and hopefully at the end of this level it calls is album mode to check to see if it should move on to the next one. Hopefully here. Is it going? It did not. Unless it did and we just didn't catch it. What if we remove that breakpoint and set it as software instead? Does that do anything? Because right now we're just trying to find anything. So we have code, but changing that code doesn't appear to do anything. And so we need to figure out something. Nothing happens, our breakpoint doesn't get hit, our disappointment is immeasurable, and our day is ruined. We may have to approach this a slightly different way. So, SG menu handler is a singleton, which means that if we can find SG menu handler static fields instance Okay, I don't know if that's anything. Okay, so get instance, if we can jit that. Okay. So 4883ECO8, and then 48B8. EO96EA12020000. That's going to be very ambiguous. So, okay. Message text. Okay, so if we can find SG game message text, the on update method that's not actually anything. Okay. Menu handler. Get instance. Can we invoke? Hmm. I don't know if that's anything. Uh, okay. So if we if we view the breakpoint list, this was so if we remove that breakpoint, then that was originally 1A, and the thing that it is getting is in menu handler is album shuffle mode, is the M underscore N album from level select page index. Okay, we're looking for M underscore N album H N albums. An album from level select page index. Okay, so it's at offset F50. And so maybe so okay. 22802696 23296 offset F50. Okay, that appears to have come out in decimal for some reason. Oh, why would you do that? And so let's, don't need that big. Programmer decimal paste. Give me that in hex. And that. Two one two EAA 930. And okay, that is not the value that we are hoping for. Because although maybe no, we are in fact in the okay, pointer scan. Okay, I forget what any of that even is.
Something's changed.
I forget how any of this actually works. So I think I may have a plan. Because I found the auto splitter that I made with the same tools. And that has a search thing for finding something menu related. Okay, so SG menu handler is probably the only SG menu whatever that there is. And handler is the thing that we were trying to find earlier. So, if we can find that, then we have that, and we can pull up Sayonara Wild Hearts, pull up Cheat Engine,
The young woman who was
attach Cheat Engine to Sayonara Wild Hearts, search for that as an array of byte. Oh, no, that's not what I meant. And we do in fact have one of them. And so if we disassemble that, then okay, I think okay, so that depends. Okay, so live split sig scan target. How does that work again? So if we look at live split components, scriptable auto split. Sig scan target is the thing that we are looking for. Okay, so it's not in there. Sig scan target in this repository. Okay, so that component util. Okay, so so that is the offset into the thing, so we need to go 60 bytes in. And so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 8. Okay, so 60 decimal 16, 32, 48, 64, 63, 2, 1. Oh. So I think 3C is the offset that we're looking for. 80 plus 3C would be BC. So that's BA. And so what we have here is pointer, I think. Okay, so 138D973AE And if we add a level of pointering, we can go back in and fix that later. If we activate mono features and dissect mono, we are in assembly C#. We are looking for SG menu handler. And it has a field. Well, it has a lot of fields. One of them is named MN album from level select page index. We are looking for that one. And its offset is F50. Okay, currently that looks like -1, which probably makes sense since we are in menus. And so, show as signed. Okay. And now, if we go to extras and start album arcade, that should give us 24, which it does. So, if we change it to 26, then since 26 is what is album shuffle mode checks for, then in theory, well, that definitely did something. I don't think it was what we wanted. Let's put that back.
This universe existed.
Let's not pause the game. Oh, it pauses on its own, I think, when we Alt-Tab away. So, yes, that is in fact what happens. So what we would like to be able to do is, like, tell it, okay, change in, like, wait like 2 seconds and then change it to 26. But it doesn't look like there's a good option for that. So, we know that we have the value in memory, and if we can change it... Wait, what happens... Okay. So what happens if we change it to 25? Nothing... Okay. So changing it to 25 doesn't cause visible changes. At least immediately. My guess is that changing it to 25 would, in fact, make the change after My guess is that changing that to 25 means it now thinks it's in hardcore mode, and if we die, it's going to treat it like YOLO. I don't want to play that long enough to find out, so that's going to go back to me. We glitched out the main menu by changing that. Okay, so... Okay, so... If we look for... Okay, so if we want to find usages, then... We don't care about reads, we want writes. Okay, so there's a thing that can proc to copy from current page index. And so if we can set current page index to 26. Okay, so let's scroll up to before that and then search for M and current page index. Okay, so can we copy and paste? That's going to be mn current page index, and that's going to be offset cf4. And so if we can set this to 26, presumably that'll glitch out the menu, which it did. And it did so hard that we can't scroll over. So, okay, so 25 is only special in two places. One of them is that, okay, so MH main menu pages. Okay, so if there was something in here to call update album page indicators with 26, it's possible that something interesting would happen, but that would require something to exist in that list, and if we look for... Okay, so that's the only write to the list itself. Okay, where do they come from, though? We add in here. Oh, that's... There's something that has failed to decompile properly. But yeah, so... Okay, so if we scroll, then that sets the current page index, and we can't set that to 26, but if we set this to 26 in... Oh, gotta be a little faster. 26... 267.
Long ago,
Okay,
a
so
harmonious
267
universe
just doesn't
existed.
do anything. It's specifically 26 that breaks it. Okay, so something else in the code is not working when the album from level select page index is 26. But only when it's 26 and not in any other case.
Long ago,
Okay, so it will not auto-pause if you get back in time. So if we copy 26 and cancel, then we start that, go here, paste, okay, come back, and nothing. Okay. So something is going funky. In one of the places that uses this. Okay. So, maybe if we can find what it is, that'll be helpful. So, whatever it is one of the things that uses is album shuffle mode. There are a lot of usages, and so one of them is probably the one that is causing things to stop working properly. Okay, so there are two places where it gets used from, Game Logic and Menu Handler, and we conveniently already have a way to get to both of those from the auto splitter. Which is nice. So let's just gonna run through down that list. Okay, so if this is in album shuffle mode, then we set the time scale based on get album shuffle game speed, which returns MF album shuffle game speed. And what is MF album shuffle game speed? Let's copy, paste again. MF album shuffle game speed. And it's an offset F60, and it's a float, not a double. It's a float that is 1. So that should not be what is causing our problem. So yeah, this line is not the problem, probably. And game view state in the game logic. In game logic, game view state level start. So then that's... Okay, so this is mn game view state within the main logic. And so if we want to get the main logic, then we want to find... We want to run this scan. That gives us one spot. We disassemble that spot. And then we want to go to plus 8e. 8c. Okay. So. And then SG game logic plus main logic. The field that we are looking for is m underscore n game view state. Mn game view state. Let's just search for it. Mn game view state. And then we can add manually with a pointer where the base is 138D9502330, and the offset is 22C. And the description can be main logic dot n game view state, so that we know that it's based off of the main logic, and so we can just remember that the rest of those are from the menu handler. So the game view state is 312. Level start, level end, we don't have numeric values for those. But we can just kind of... Okay, so level start time scale and level end time scale. So those are animation curves with keyframes 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0. Okay, is there a way we can... Okay, time scale... God only knows. So this checks if it's not in album shuffle mode, so none of this happens if it is in album shuffle mode. We can look into here, and if it's... So can we just, like, use the debugger to just, like, pause? Okay, so there is... We can set a hotkey to pause the selected process. Is there a button in the UI for it? No. So, Control Shift 4. Control Shift 4. So if we say OK, then Control Shift 4. Okay, so this is now paused. That's blinking in ways that I don't actually understand. Debug. Okay. There are a lot of threads. It's unfortunate. Let's reactivate the mono features. Oh, failure to launch. So maybe it can't do that while it's paused. Control Shift 4. If we let it resume, does that help? Yes. So, I'm not sure what hooking Direct 3D will do, but we might as well. Famous last words, I guess. So now we get to ask ourselves, is that going to do anything? It looks an awful lot like we may have just crashed Cheat Engine, everybody. And since it's trying to mess with Sayonara Wild Hearts, then both of them have crashed. Yeah, that has crashed. Don't report that to Microsoft. And yeah, there goes Sayonara Wild Hearts too. So, we can put it into shuffle mode, and then something catches on fire. We don't know what, but it's something. That's technically progress. And we're back. Okay, so since Cheat Engine just crashed, we're going to have to reset up the memory offsets that we found. But I think there might be an easier way to get that loaded in if we can say array of byte, and then finds that. Then if we can copy that in, then we can okay, so if we okay, so that gives us an address, and we can use that as we can use a double offset here. 1B 4C FB 1FB FO, and then it's a binary. It's a decimal 60. Decimal 64 is hex 40. 40. Three C. DEF4. Uh, Oh, right, that doesn't actually work because we have to like do the addition beforehand. We can't just do it like that. So, okay, so if we want to add 3C to that, then BF CO C1 C2 C2 C. And so that gives us the menu handler. And then that's okay. We don't actually need that after all. Wait a minute. 0, and then we can start playing around with stuff. Okay, so if we activate the mono features, dissect mono, one of the things that we were looking for is an album from level select page index. And so if we can find that, it's going to take a minute because I was lazy. Wait for that to respond. Okay, mental note, don't be lazy, it doesn't work. Apparently that's just going to cook for a bit. I'll pause the recording while that continues to work. Okay, so that finally finished, never making that mistake again. And so it has the offset of F50. Let's tell it to show as signed. Okay, so that looks like we are in the right spot. Let's pull in the correct description. And then, actually, while we're here, let's sg menu handler dot. Okay, and then the main logic. Find that, and then let's copy the address, add manually. Okay, apparently copying the address didn't actually do anything. 1B4C FB405B. Oh! And then we have to add 8E to that. We can add the E, that's pretty easy. So we're adding F, we're adding 1 and subtracting 2, and so that's 6B, 6A, 6, 9. No, it isn't. What the fuck am I talking about? Uh, 5B plus 8. Okay, so B, C, D, E, F, O, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then that is the main logic. And we are looking for, in main logic, what was it again? Uh, God only knows. Uh, the thing that we were dusting off earlier was M and game view state, and that's probably worth having. Okay. Oh boy. Uh, so let's pull back up the mono dissect. Oh, no, it is still going to have expanded every goddamn thing. Uh, so I'll get back to you when it's finished loading. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, it de-expanded that. You love to see it. Okay. So we're looking for SG game logic. Plus main logic. Fields. M and game view state. That's at offset 22C. And so 22C is the offset that we use there. And then the description is main logic dot M and game view state. And while we're in here, the other thing that could come in handy is MF game view state time. And so if we find that one, and then we copy and we paste MF game view state time 224. And it's a float. Okay, so in a perfect world, okay, so F game view state time. It looks like there are a lot of things that use that. That's probably true. But if we are lucky, then we can find out what accesses that address. Yes, attach the debugger. Accesses the address pointed at.
Long ago, a harmonious universe existed.
actually, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to stop that, close that, change this to 26, and then find out what accesses and stop. Okay. So reactivate mono features and disassemble that. Main logic on update some stuff. Main logic on update some more stuff slightly later on. Okay. So okay, so we're calling animation curve evaluate. Okay, so yeah, we're evaluating. Okay, so the time scale. So we're using max to make sure that it doesn't go below 0.001. So in principle, you would think that the time would still keep moving, even if absurdly slowly. So I don't think that this code can be why nothing is happening. It would be nice to be able to double check that though. Uh, just to see. Okay, so we're doing some multiplication in some places. Okay, now what on earth? Oh, convert. Ah, we're converting singles to doubles. So here we call something, and then we skip past. Okay, so okay, so that will skip over more stuff, and that jumps all the way down to here. So somewhere, okay, so somewhere in here we're multiplying into time scale. So can I find where a multiplication is taking place? So specifically a floating point multiplication. Okay, so that's comparing doubles. I don't think that's anything. we're converting. We're jumping, we're moving, we're testing, we're jumping, we're converting again. We're converting a single to double. We're converting a double back to a single. The lower... Okay, so that's probably min? Maybe? God only knows. Okay, so that's a divide. Which looks like it... Like, okay. So that's that divide is going to be this divide. And then after we've called evaluate and then max, then we'll see some multiplication. So we call evaluate, we convert back and forth for some reason. We move, and we sub, and we XOR, and we test, and we convert, we XOR, we compare. So there's another, okay, that's probably the other divide. Why are we subtracting 496 from something? Whatever. So we call whatever that is. So find don't find assembly code. Can we go to tools? Go to address and paste. And okay, so none of that is going to like actually do anything. It looks like because it doesn't know like what that would even be from in the mono fanciness. So yeah, we're calling a bunch of functions that don't appear to like exist conventionally. Uh, and I still don't see multiplication happening anywhere. We're moving sign extend. We've got an XOR. Bitwise logical XOR for doubles. Why on earth is XORing floating point values a thing that you need? Where's the multiplication happening? We've got another division. Where are you going to multiply things? Okay, so I think what we're gonna do is hope that this isn't the part that's causing problems, because if it is, then I have no goddamn clue how to fix it. So if we hope that that's not causing problems, uh, actually, what happens if we find out what's rights to, or no, not rights to, because nothing writes to that except for us. What access is pointed at? Disassemble that. Is that anything? Okay, SG menu handler on late update. Uh, hmm. That notably is not is album shuffle mode from down here. So, okay, so menu handler. Let's see if we can find out what that even is. Usages in menu handler. Late update. Is any of that? None of that even appears to be anything. Uh, so, is album shuffle mode, is that used in on late update? Yes, it is in this specific context. Uh, so we call like three other things later and we and. Uh, and we use 1 as a floating point value under some conditions. Uh, we're calling R11. Uh, yeah, we're calling more functions that we don't necessarily have information about. Uh, what happens if we B4C FB55520, and the mono features are already active, so it just doesn't know what this is from. Which is mildly inconvenient. Okay, so we've got a big for loop right before that if, and then here we've got a that jumps back up to plus 118, and or plus 118, and we're down here at plus 627. So that looks like a big for loop. So this probably is in fact that if is album shuffle. How is that the only place that reads that though? Like, if we change it back to 24 and let it do things. Oh, because it's paused. It already doesn't do anything when it's paused. Okay. So, somehow, the pause menu explodes under this condition, but not in a way that depends on, like, any of this somehow. Which is very weird. Okay, if we can figure out a way to unpause from here. Okay, so we can set a hotkey. Control Shift 0. Control Shift 5, because apparently 0 doesn't work. Set the value to 26, so we can press Control Shift 5 and so we can call that set to shuffle mode. Okay. And then, if we press the button, then we freeze. Will it automatically pause if we come back out here? Well, it stops playing the music. Find out what accesses the address pointed at by this pointer. Okay, so show that in the disassembler, God only knows. Show that in the disassembler, God only knows. Are we God? Let's become God. Okay, so main logic, there we go. Okay, main logic on update, we are actually accessing the thing again. So main logic on update, something, here we go. So, we can get the time scale. Okay, it's applying scripted camera effects, but the levels, like, the player isn't ticking. And so, okay, that is very impressive. Honestly, I kind of want to see what happens if we, like, try that again, but better. So if we let it be in a normal mode, continue. Okay, yeah, this is extremely nifty. Regardless of the fact that it very clearly isn't working. Just, like, making the camera glitch out in that specific way. And it's probably just ignoring all of our inputs. But okay, we can make it do something. But the fact that that's the failure case that it has is kind of nifty. It's not as nifty as actually having shuffle mode would be, but it is nevertheless nifty. Okay, so where were we? Oh yeah, so we're okay. So this is the only other time that it happens, and we're messing with the time scale when we do this. Okay, so we can get time scale, and that does normal things. Uh, but we then set the time scale, and that I would assume is where things get weird, maybe. So we're going to try things that may or may not actually do anything useful for us. Uh, we're going to... Okay, so that function, so move R11, that is what gives us get time scale. So instead of trying to set the time scale, what if you just get it again? What if you just get it again? And then, is there another set? It doesn't look like it. Okay. So, if... Okay, so it is technically possible. Okay, so that did not in fact fix anything. It has glitched us out again in another interesting way. But that's about it. I no longer know what to do with that. Okay, so what happens if we, like, switch it back in the middle of the level? Okay, so yeah, it does in fact, like, play out properly. Switch it back. Then... yeah, and then if we switch it again, then it goes back to not being the right thing. After the level's supposed to... Oh. That's definitely something, but I'm pretty sure it's still not useful. Okay, so let's see if after the track is all over, it'll restart from here again. Yes. Okay, so yeah, through some combination of bizarre nonsense, I don't think it has changed at all. Okay, so let's see if we can find out what accesses that address again, and if there's, like, anything new. That looks like the same stuff. Yeah, because that is... give us back. Yep, that's our main logic on update slightly before get time scale and get time scale again. So it's not that. Whatever it is not that. I don't... It's entirely possible that there's supposed to be more, like, initialization, and just setting it to 26 doesn't actually, like, fix anything. What happens if we put us into YOLO? so yeah, that does in fact put us into YOLO. Uh, okay, yeah, and then setting that to 26 causes the menus to glitch out and no longer respond to input at all. But if we change it back to 24 from there, then we get that. And I'm just out of curiosity, what happens if we change it to like 21? Not much. Yeah, it knows that that doesn't actually mean it. Okay, so can we... Okay, yes, we can glitch out the menus from anywhere by setting that to 26, but only setting it to 26 does that. Setting it to 27 no longer does that. Okay, so if we disassemble... Okay, so yeah, this does in fact compare against 26. If we make it compare against 27, 1B...
Long ago, a heart.
Okay, so changing that to 26 still causes that problem, and then to 27, we get... So something else is also testing it against... Okay, so that test against 26 is not causing problems, because if it was, then we wouldn't be here. Because setting it to 27 would be breaking it there and fixing it here. So I'm going to set it back to 26. I'm going to put this back where it was at 1A. And then we're going to go look at this one, and we're going to make that compare against 1B. And we'll continue. Okay, so now it is set to 26, and it's working, which means that the one in late update was the one that was causing problems. So somehow it is this specific test. So what happens in the album shuffle text? Okay, so yeah, we load from that, so I'm going to put that back at 1A, just to re-break it. And then we're going to see if we can figure out... Okay, so 1B, 4C something. Okay, so 735 is after all of that. Okay, so it's not implemented as an AND, it's implemented by checking both of those conditions separately. So the album shuffle text, the game logic, So that does a lot of juggling. Okay, and then 735 is where all of that stuff jump. Yeah, 735 is what all of the stuff is jumping to. And then... Okay, so right before that, we call something. Yeah, 735 is over here, and we replace that with a pile of no ops. Replace that with a pile of no ops. Replace that with a pile of no ops, and pray to God nothing else breaks. Okay, so that did not in fact fix anything. There's something hiding in here, and that comes from mono.dll. And... can we activate mono features, please? No, it appears that we cannot. So, some weird shit happens out here. Can we... No, we can't. Okay. So somehow that button's just broken now. But yeah, it looks like whatever we changed did not in fact fix anything. But, okay, so this jumps to CDE5. And CDE5, we've got a fuckload of no-ops. Okay, so up here, we also move and call and add. Is that somehow going to fix any of our problems? No. It is not going to solve anything. I am now back to being stuck, but I think we can, at the very least, have some fun with it. So, what I'm going to do is go into hotkeys and add a new one that's Control-Shift-4. And what that will do is set value to 24. That will set to Album Arcade. Okay, so we can Control-Shift-4 to fix and Control-Shift-5 to break. Why are you paused? Who told you to do that? I told you to do that. Uh, so let's set that to Control Shift 1 so that we can... Oh! Now we're writing on the card, but like pointed sideways briefly. So what we have here is a big mood. I'm curious what happens if we break the cutscene before it, like, does anything. Something. Hey, we get to A-pose on him. Okay, that is very slightly amusing. The floor is not loading properly, and... Okay, so pressing it at the exact moment that we die causes God only knows what to happen. Pressing it slightly before we die, and then again after... Okay, so... Can we... Nope. Too late. Okay, so... Yeah, if we get the timing generous enough, then it'll let us teleport through stuff. But if we are that far over... Okay, so it will just kind of clip us back in if we can teleport forward like that. I wonder what's going to happen if we... This whole level should be interesting if we break it randomly. Exist. No, we do exist. We're just like the cameras in front of us. So yeah, this is decidedly not shuffle mode, but it is mildly interesting in its own right. And who knows, maybe I'll somehow create shuffle mode anyway, by trying hard and believing in myself. Though it looks like there shouldn't be, like, any code that, like, I don't understand what code causes. Oh, it's testing the condition. It totally has a no pointer exception or something that gets poorly handled. I'll figure that out at some point. But yeah, that's as close as we've got so far to shuffle mode. Okay, so that thing I guessed was probably a null pointer exception. Let's figure out if that is in fact actually the case, or if I was full of shit. Cheat engine. And... parts.
Not like
And get in there. Activate mono. Take
go through space.
that and find it. Okay, and then 60, that's 3C. 9 THP to CC. And then another level of offset. And we can leave that one at 0 for now because we don't actually know what we're doing. So let's figure out what we're doing. We are looking for assembly C sharp. And then SG menu handler. And then the field. F5. Oh. And if we show that as signs, then it tells us -1, which looks familiar. Okay. And then we also want H album shuffle text. So let's duplicate that with H album shuffle text, and it lives at offset 7EO. And it is in fact null. Which kind of makes sense, considering that this feature doesn't actually exist in the video game. Okay, so let's go out here and see if we can find usages of okay, so that's so there's a menu handler in okay, so it comes from menu page, H menu texts. Okay, so it comes from the menu page, and the menu page is an SG menu handler menu page. Okay, can we find where those actually come from? So this MH main menu pages, where do those come from? they come from... Oh yeah, they come from this mess. What's the context of that mess? Okay, so yeah, if it's false... So this does interesting things with the... Okay, so this... let's... Edit... Code... Hmm. Uh, Toggle bookmark. Oh, it is just crawling increasingly off to the side there. Uh, that's kind of funny. Okay. Uh, my standards are low. Uh, okay, so that's one place where we add stuff to the main menu pages. Oh god, that scroll bar's fucking huge. Okay, so... Okay. Okay, so it's only ever in here. Nothing, like, reaches in from outside. Uh, okay, so... If we put it into regex mode and say this dot m underscore h main m underscore h main menu pages, and then we want the next thing to not be an open square bracket. Okay, so we dot count, 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 we dot add in the place where we already have that bookmark, we dot count, we dot count, we dot count, we dot count, dot count, 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 and nothing. Okay, so the literal only time that that happens is at that bookmark. Okay, so that's good to know. So, navigate bookmarks, next bookmark. Okay, so I don't entirely... Okay, so what's the context that we exist in by the time that we get here? Okay, so this is buried deep inside of the init. And... Okay, so we find a game object that's the main menu, and next bookmark. Okay, So menu page is the object that is the thing that gets added, and it gets constructed based on game object to transform child count or something. Uh, yeah, it's based on the children of game object 2, which is the main menu. Okay, so that deals with stuff that's inside the specific like that deals with the levels in the game, and I don't know that we have the ability to mess with those. So we probably can't like create a menu page for it without like pulling the entire project somehow into the Unity editor, and I don't want to find out how much of a nuisance that is to do with a decompiled project. But what we can totally do is, okay, so let's set up our hotkeys like we used to have. Control Shift 4 is set the value to 24, and Control Shift 5 is to set the value to 26. And then we want to go here and we want to find out what accesses that address. Yes, pointed at by the pointer, and it's not going to be much for a while. And our timing is profoundly not optimal. Okay, so if we put it in a broken mode for a little bit and then let it get fixed, stop that, and show that address in the disassembler. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of shit, and let's just know about all of that. Oh, can't actually no-op it out entirely. We can no-op that, no-op that, no-op that, no-op that. That, and that, and that, and that. And so now if we say find out what accesses that address, put it back into broken mode, put it back into fixed mode, stop, disassemble, I'm just spitballing here, but let's see what happens if we make that an unconditional jump. Yes, replace with no ops. And okay, so let's find out what accesses that. And okay, so now we've got. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Show that in the disassembler. Okay. What happens? Okay. Okay, so this is the menu handler late update again. And okay. So that was our unconditional jump that we skipped over somewhere, apparently. Okay, so something in there jumps to 735. And 735 is not before where we're winding up. Okay. Okay, so... Okay, so the switch is on menu state. Okay, so that jump if above or equal that goes to way the hell down there. And then the jump to RAX. Okay, so that looks like it's all the switch. Okay, so I think if we just kind of keep crawling upward, no up that, no up that, no up that, and that, and that. God, that's a lot of converting back and forth to nothing. No up that, no up, no up. Not the button that I was looking for. Okay, with luck, we haven't broken anything, and we have instead made it not actually do any of the things that cause problems. so... So I'm curious, like, is this all the same? Like, oh, there we go. Okay. But yeah, holy fuck, we got that working. So I'm gonna throw all of the shit that I just recorded together into a how I did it video, and then make a separate video for how to do it yourself. So, let's say you want to run shuffle mode on Sayonara Wild Hearts. So, if we fire up the game, let that load in the background. One of the things that we need is Cheat Engine. I'm sure there are other tools that will also let us
so violently
do this sort of thing, but this is the one that I know how to use, kind of. So we're going to hit this button to open Sayonara Wild Hearts. Then we're going to pull up the auto splitter that I made for speedrunning the game, because I already did some of the work that we need to be using as a reference here. And so I'll have this exact like string in the video description, so you can copy it from there, but I have to copy it from here because I haven't made the video yet. And so we're going to need to set the value type to array of byte and paste that and hit first scan. Okay, and so that gives us an address. We can right click and copy selected address, and then we can pull up a calculator and switch to hex mode and paste. Switch to decimal mode. And then the 60 is the offset here. So we plus 60 and equals. And that gives us, like, because... Okay, so the blob of text that we just copied and pasted, this is the code that accesses the menu handler in the game. And so we're trying to get the address that it's using, because that'll tell us where the menu handler actually lives in memory. And so switching back to hex gives us 15F CCD6 F21C. We're going to copy that, and we're going to check the pointer box, add an offset again, and paste, and take out the spaces. Okay. And I have to double check what the offset we need is, but you won't. So I'm going to pause the recording and do that. So the offset that we need is F50. We leave this bottom one at 0. It's this one that we set to F50. The description, we can put page. And that tells it what page we selected in the menu, and that's how it knows which mode it wants to be in. So we're going to right-click there and show as signed to get the useful value, and right now it's -1, which means it just doesn't have anything in mind. So what we're going to do here is right-click and set hotkeys. And we're going to create a hotkey. I'm using Control-Shift-4 to set value to 24. And that is Album Arcade. I'm going to create another hotkey that's Control-Shift-5 and set value to 26. And that is Shuffle. So now we have those hotkeys, so we can press Control-Shift-4, and it'll jump into Album Arcade mode, and Control-Shift-5 will jump into Shuffle mode. Unfortunately, there is more work that has to be done than that. We have to take this and copy and paste, and we don't need to deal with any of that. We can just hit paste. And then we're going to double-click this and change the offset to be something that I'm going to have to look up. Specifically, 7E0. 7E0. This is going to have a value of 0. What that represents is it's a pointer to an object that the game is trying to use to set the text that indicates the album shuffle status or something, but that text doesn't exist, which is why this pointer is 0, which means that when the game tries to change that text, it will cause explosions. So what we're going to do is we're going to right-click and find out what accesses this address, and yes, and find out what accesses the address pointed at by this pointer, and that'll do nothing for a while. And then we go back into the game, and we wait for it to get out of the cutscenes. And I started by going into Album Arcade, but I don't know if other things will also work. So we start it, and we hit Control-Shift-5 to put it into Shuffle mode. And then the game starts doing weird things. But this is telling us this is an instruction that's happening a lot that is trying to use the shuffle that text. And there's no text there, so we need to tell it to just not do that. Okay, and unfortunately, there's a bunch of stuff up here that's just soup. We can make it very slightly less useless by opening up the mono menu here and hitting Activate Mono Features. And then okay, so yeah, this instruction that got selected here, there's this and then a bunch of stuff below it that are all the things that cause problems. So what we're going to do is actually work from the bottom up. So let me see Okay, where are the problems? Okay, so the problems are over. This move SXD R13 blah 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 bunch of that whole mess, like that's after all of the like unpleasant obnoxious stuff is over. And so this is the end of the things that are causing our problems here. And then the beginning of the things that are causing our problems here is the this up here. So we can right click on that and replace with code that does nothing and whatever okay. And that'll give us a bunch of instructions that do nothing. And so instead of causing problems, it will do nothing. And then that R13 is when doing nothing is, so yeah, that is where we need to stop. So we're going to right click before it and replace with code that does nothing. Yeah, whatever, okay. And then we're just going to work our way up and keep going. Replace with code that does nothing. Yeah, whatever, okay. Code that does nothing. Yeah, whatever, okay. Code that does nothing. Yeah, whatever, okay. In theory, it would also fix it if we could create the text that it's looking for somehow. But we kind of can't. Because there isn't, like, we would have to have, like, the original Unity project to be able to create it in the way that it's looking for it. And we don't have the original Unity project, and I don't think we're going to be able to ask politely and get it. Technically, nothing's impossible, but you never know. And okay, so that was where we started nuking stuff. There's a couple decoy no-op instructions in the middle, but those are in the middle, not actually at the end. So we've got more replacing with nothing to do. And the reason we work from the bottom up is because it replaces, like, for reasons that are complicated, it has to replace doing something with a lot of doing nothing. And if we were working from the top down, we would have to scroll past all of that doing nothing. If we work from the bottom up, we have less nothing to undo, or something. Hopefully. Okay. And so now we have finished replacing all of that with do nothing. And now our game is paused and we can go to settings and video settings and put it to full screen. You could probably start out with a full screen, but I didn't have that for, like, debugging. And then we can save and return, and then continue. And then the game crashes, because I fucked up. So that's not how you do it.